repeat to you, gentlemen, that inquisition is fruitless. Detain me here forever, if you will. Continue or execute me. If you must have a victim to prolate the illusion that you call justice. But I can say no more than I have said already. Everything that I can remember, you have told with perfect candor. Nothing has been distorted or concealed, and everything remains vague. It is only because of the dark cloud which has come over my mind, that cloud and nebulous nature of the horrors which brought upon me. Again I say I do not know what has become of Hereward Wayne, though I think, almost hope, that he is in peaceful oblivion. If there is anywhere so blessed a thing, it is true, that I have known for 5 years, his closest friend, and a partial share of his terrible researches into the unknown, I will not deny, through my memory, is an uncertain... Oh, wait.
And why? Because I'm awake.
Is uncertain and indistinct. This witness yours may have seen us together. Evie! Stop!
What?
Be quiet.
I guess almost...
Witness of yours have seen together on the Greatnessville Pike, walking towards the big cypress swamp at 11:30 on that awful night. We bore electric lanterns, spades, and curious coil wire with attached instruments. I will even offer him, for these things all played a part in the single hideous scene which remains burned into my shaken recollection. But of what I followed, and for the reason I found alone engaged over the edge of the swamp next morning, I must insist I know nothing. Oh, what? Hey, Fat Bunny. I know nothing save what I have told you over and over again. You say me that there is nothing in the swamp or near it which could have formed the setting of that frightful episode. I reply that I know nothing beyond what I saw. Vision or nightmare, it may have been. Vision or nightmare, I fervently hope it was. Yet, it is all in my mind, retains of what took place in those shocking hours after we left the sight of men. And why Harley Wines did not return, he or his shade or some nameless thing I cannot describe alone can tell extent shared by me. Of past collection of strange rare books on the forbidden subjects I read in languages I cannot understand. Most, I believe, are in Arabic, and fiend-inspired books, which brought on the end the book which he carried in his pocket out of the world was written in characters who like I've never saw elsewhere. Warren would never tell me what was in the book as to the nature of our studies. Must I say that I no longer retain full comprehension? It seems to me rather merciful that I do not, for they were terrible studies which I pursued more and more. I lost my place. Pursued though reluctant fascination. Then through actual inclination. Warren always dominated me. Sometimes I feared him. I remembered how Evie shuddered at his facial expression on the night before the awful happened. when he talked to me so incessantly of his theory why certain corpses never decay, but rest firm, fat in their tombs for 1,000 years. What? I'm reading the statement of Randolph Carter.
You die. You can't.
But I do not fear him now, for I suspect that he knows horrors beyond my ken. Now I fear him. Fear for him. Fuck, I can't read.
You really can't.
I really can't.
You're a bad public reader. Do you have to read in class? Do you have to public read in class?
No, I don't. Fat Bunny was here last night, dude. Evie, what?
No, he reads like this. He reads like this.
I read like this.
Shut up! I hate you niggas. I'm trying to keep it
I say
rhythm.
that I have no clear idea of our object on the night.
Certainly at a much-
Which Warren carried with him. That ancient book in undecipherable characters, which had come to him from India a month before. But I swear, I do not know what it was that we expected to find.
Reading way too fast for this. You got to slow down.
Your witness says he saw
Shut up.
Okay,
Last
and this
11.
is my kind
No,
of.
play-
Game
My
Nashville,
kind of.
P-Tag,
Okay.
headed for a big
Cadmus,
Cypress
Cyprus.
swamp.
This was probably true, but I have no distinct memory of it. The picture seared into my soul of one scene only, and the hours must have been long after midnight, for a waning crescent moon was high in the shut up, heavens.
Okay, what's
You
happening in
did,
the
you
story
laughed.
right now, Douglas? What's happening right now?
He's describing scary shit that happened. They're like researching bad shit, like evil voodoo things, or something like that.
Okay.
They're doing like evil wizard magic.
Evil wizard magic.
Yes.
There's evil wizard magic.
The place was an ancient cemetery, so ancient that I trembled at the manifold. I can't fucking read. I know what it says. Shut the fuck up. Manifold signs of. I'm gonna cancel the stream, bro. I swear to God, I hate you niggas.
Are you streaming this?
Yes,
OBS?
it's on OBS.
And it's.
It was a deep and damp,
Holy shit, go
hollow,
link it to everybody.
overgrown. I gotta stop streaming.
Why?
Overgrown with rank grass, moss, and curious creeping weeds, and filled with vague stenches with idle fancy associated artistry. Absurdly with rotting stone on every hand were the signs of neglect and decrepitude. And I seemed haunted by the notion that Warren and I were the first living creatures to invade a lethal silence of centuries. Over the valley rim, a warning crescent moon peered through the nosum. What the fuck does that mean? It's nosum.
Ma? Well?
Wow. Bad smelling.
Yeah, sewing?
Evie, go watch your Alexa. Go.
No.
Yes. I lost my place because I didn't know what that word meant.
Why you just pissed me over?
Evie, go. Oh yeah, it scrolls up for some reason. One sec. I have an easy fix for this, guys. Were you guys playing Valheim?
You left.
Yeah, because my... The fuck? Oh, I was on the wrong page.
That's right.
Why didn't I close this? Vapors that seemed to emanate from the unheard catacombs and its feeble, wavering beams. I could distinguish a repellent array of antique slabs, urns, cenopaths, and mausolaic facades, all crumbling moss-grown and moisture-stained and partly concealed by the gross luxuriance of the unhealthy vegetation, my first vivid impression of my own peerlessness in this terrible necropolis concerning the act of pausing with Warren before Cern half obliterated the sculpture and throwing down some burdens which we had seemed to have been carrying, I now observed that I had with me an electric lantern with 2 spades, whilst my companion was supplied with a similar lantern and portable telephone outfit. Portable telephone? What the fuck is that? No word was uttered for the spot, and task seemed known to us. Without delay, we seized our spades. Is that like a fancy word for shovel?
Yes, Triforce.
I didn't know that. And commenced to clear the way of the grass, weeds, and drilled earth from the flat archaic monnery. After uncovering the entire surface, which considered the 3 immense granite slabs, we stepped back for some distance to survey the Chonlaic scene, and Warren appeared to make some mental calculations. Then he returned to the sculpture and used his spade as a lever, sawed up to pry up the slab laying nearest the stonic ruin which he may been mounting in its day. He did not succeed, and motioned me to come to his assistance. Finally, our combined strength loosened the stone, and we raised and tipped one side. The removal of the slab revealed a black aperture, a printer from which rushed an effluence of Masmul gases so nauseous that we started back in horror. After an
Do you not know the word aperture?
amateur, I said
You
it.
play Portal, dude?
However, we approached the pit again and found exhalant less unbearable. Our lanterns disclosed by the top of light stone steps, dripping with some detector of the inner earth, and borrowed by most walls, encrusted with nitre. And now, for the first time in my memory records, verbal discourse, Warren addressing me at length in his mellow, tender voice, a voice singularly uninterrupted by our awesome surroundings. I'm sorry to have to ask you to stay on the surface, he said, but it would be a crime to let anyone with your frail nerves go down there. You can't imagine, even from what you have read and from what I have told you, the things I shall have to see and do. It is fiendish work, Carter, and I doubt it from any man without ironclad sensibilities could ever see it through. And coming up alive and sane, I don't wish to offend you, and heaven knows I'd be glad enough to have you come with me, but the responsibility is in certain sense mine, and I couldn't drag a bundle of nerves like you down to probable death or madness. I tell you, you cannot imagine what the thing is really like, but I promise to keep you informed over on the telephone of every move. You've seen enough of the wire here. You've seen enough wire here to reach the center of the earth and back. I can still hear in memory those coolly spoken words, and I can still remember my remonstrances. I seemed anxious to accompany my friend in those fucking I hate him. I hate this nigga. Scrumptious depths. Yet inflexibly abroad. At one time he threatened to abandon the expedition if I remained innocent. A threat which no longer proved effective, since he alone held the key to the thing. All this I can still reluctantly acquiesce in his design. Warren picked up the reel of the wire and adjusted the instruments at his nod. I took one of the latter and sealed myself upon an aged, discolored gravestone close by. The newly uncovered aperture, and then he took my hand and shouldered the coil of the wire and disappeared within the indescribable outskirts. For a moment I kept sight of the glow of the lantern, and he heard the rustle of the wire as he laid it down for him. But the glow soon disappeared abruptly, as if I turned in the stone staircase had been encountered, and the sounds died away almost as quickly. I was alone, yet bound to the unknown depths by magic stranded, whose installated surface lay green beneath the struggling beams that warned of the waning crescent moon. In the lone silence of the hoary and the deserted city of the dead, my mind conceived the most gaseous fallacies and illusions. The grotesque shrines and monoliths seemed to assume a hideous personality and half-sentience. And more shadows seemed to lurk in the darker recesses of the weak choded hollow, and fit in some blasphemous ceremony preceded by the portals of the mounting tomes in the hillside. Shadows which could not have been classed by pallid, pure crescent moon. I constantly consoled my watch by the light of my electric lantern. Evie, don't turn off my computer. Go.
Hey.
Okay. Where was I? Electric lantern, and listened feverishly, anxiety at the receiver of the telephone. But for more than a quarter of an hour, hearing nothing, and then faint clicking coming from the instrument, and I called down to my friend in a tense voice, apprehensive as I was. Nevertheless, I apprehended for the words which came up, that uncanny vault, an ancient more alarming and quivering than any I had heard before, from Harley Warren, who had many calmly left me a little while previously, now called from below in a shaky whisper, more pretentious than the loudest shriek. God, if you could see what I'm seeing. I could not answer, speechless. I could only wait. Then came the frenzied tones again. Carter, it's terrible. Monstrous. Unbelievable. This time my voice did not fail me, and I poured in the transmitter a flood of excited questions, terrified to repeat. Warren, what is it? What is it? Once again came the voice of my friend, the host's, with fear, and now apparent tingled with despair. I cannot tell you, Carter. It's too utterly beyond thought. I dare not tell you. No man should know it. Great God, I never dreamed of this. Silence again, save now incoherent, tolerant of shuddering inquiry, and then the voice of Warren in the pitch wild concentration. Carter, for the love of God, put back the slab and get out. Do it. Get out of this if you can. Quick. Leave everything else and make it for the outside. It's your only chance. Do as I say and don't ask me to explain. I heard yet what was able to repeat my frantic questions around me. were the tomes and the darkness of the shadows below me. Some perils beyond the radius of human imagination, but my friend was in greater danger than I. Through my fear, I felt a vague resentment that should deem me capable of deserting him under such conditions. More clicking after a pause, piteous cry from Warren. "Beat it, for God's sake! Put the slab and beat it, Carter!" Something in the boyish slang of my evidently stricken companion unleashed my faculties. I formed and shouted a resolution. "Warren, brace up! I'm coming down!" But at the offer of the tone, my utter changed to a scream of utter despair. "Don't! You can't understand! It's too late! And my own fault! Put the slab in and run! There is nothing else you or anyone can do now." The tone changed again, this time acquiring a softer quality of hopeless resignation, yet remained a tense through anxiety for me. "Quick, before it's too late!" I tried not to hear him, tried to break through the paralysis which held me, and fulfill my vow to rush down to his aid. But the next whisper found me and held insert the chains of stark horror. "Carter, hurry! It's no use. Must go better. 1, then 2, the slab." A pause, more clicking than the faint voice of Warren. "Nearly over now. Don't make it harder. Come over those damn steps and run for your life. You're losing time. So long, Carter. Won't see you again." 1 sec. My dad's home.
Whoa. Hold the drink carefully.
Man, we got a weird order from this pizza place. You know Pegasus Pizza?
No.
It's a pizza
Alright, so
place.
it's one of those. It's like next to the campus, right?
Yeah.
We got an order that said to pick up from best freaking pizza ever.
It was an
So
all
we're like, okay, we'll go there, and we pull up, and it's Pegasus Pizza. And we're like, it's common for them to have ghost kitchens. She goes in there, and they're like, "We don't do DoorDash. You're like the 7th person we've had to turn away."
So
So somebody pranked this place by making them a DoorDash restaurant.
Okay.
I mean, at least it was a compliment.
And then we took one order. Well, technically we took 4 orders from one store because we used both apps.
Yeah.
And the very last one we had to go drop it off at, the instructions were like, "Tell him his baby will love him no matter what." Like, what?
We
Did you
ended
tell her?
up giving it to an old man.
You can go play your game. I can tell you were playing one.
Okay. I'm back. You probably could hear my dad through the stream though, if you're listening. Okay. The slab, where was it? Warren's whispered swelled into a cry that was graceless, rose to a streak, fraught with all the horror of the ages. "Curse these hellish things, legions, my God! Beat it, beat it, beat it." After that was silence. I knew not how many intermissions, aeons, I sat stupefied, whispering, muttering, calling, screaming into that telephone over and over again. Through those aeons, I whispered and muttered, called, shouted, screamed, "Warren! Warren, answer me! Me, are you there?" And then there came to me a crowing horror of all the unbeatable, unthinkable, almost unmentionable thing I have said in aeons seemed to elapse after Warren shrieked forth his last despairing warning, and that only my own cries now broke the hideous silence. But after a while there was a further clicking in the receiver, and then I strained my ears to listen. Again I called down, "Warren, are you there?" And answered heard the thing which had brought this cloud over my mind. I do not try, gentlemen, to account for that thing, that voice, nor can I venture to describe it in detail. Since the first words took away my consciousness, and the creature a mental blank which reaches the time of my awakening in the hospital, shall I say that the voice was deep, hollow, gracious, remote, unearthly, inhuman, disembodied? What shall I say? It was the end of my experience and the end of my story. I hear it and I knew no more. Hearing it, I sat petrified in the unknown cemetery, in the hollow amidst crumbling stones, and hearing the falling tombs, the rank vegetarian, and the mestible vapors, hear it well up from the inmost depths of the decanimal open sculpture. I watched the amorphous necrophilic shadows dance beneath a cursed waning moon. And this is what it said. You fool! Warren is dead. That was a pretty good book. What did you think, Dysentery?
I don't know. I actually wasn't listening. I was looking at your fucking worst retarded ass house down there.
What do you rate my house?
I'm fixing your roof for you because you're wasting all the wood,
Thank
making pointless roofs that don't work.
you. Well, how would you make a roof? Oh, did you like my balcony I made?
No.
Why not?
Because it doesn't fucking work.
What do you mean? You just have to jump over the door. It does work. Well, I thought the statement of Randolph Carter was pretty good. I'd give it an A tier. There we go. I gotta edit my profile now. That's number 12. What? Turn off streamer mode for a second. Oh, did I not edit it after I read the other one? Okay. How are these published? Oh yeah, who archived all of his work? Because you said they just like appeared in newspapers and stuff. Why? Who like
They were
actually
in
paid?
magazines.
Yeah, who paid attention and just archived all of it?
Fans of the magazine.
They're like, these stories crazy.
You're like, this goes hard.
They're kind of right. Oh, I'm retarded.
Honestly, dude, this is so fucked. I don't really know how to unfuck it.
My house. Is it
I'm
that?
trying to.
Is it
I'm
that
really
scuffed?
Yes. Triforce, there's multiple parts in your roof where you just fucking gave up and put like 30 layers of the same thatch roof on the exact same spot.
Okay.
And nothing changed.
And?
Why?
Why not? It helps.
Fucking retarded. I know where all the wood went now.
Where'd it go?
To your retarded roof.
I did waste like 3 stacks on that, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, can you tell?
You know there's a corner piece, right?
3, maybe
that you
4.
can build?
I only wanted to use 1 piece.
What do you mean you wanted to use one piece?
I wanted it all be matching.
What the fuck are you talking about? What does that even mean?
I only want to use that 1 piece that goes up.
What? What the fuck are you saying to me? What?
I only wanted to use 1 piece of the roof.
I don't understand a word you're fucking saying.
I wanted
This is retarded.
I wanted to use the piece that goes. Yo, who DDoSed me? Yo, who DDoSed me? H.P. Lovecraft got so upset at like me mispronouncing words while reading his book. He DDoSed me beyond the grave.
Yeah.
What?
I would too.
So can you make me a video?
I already had one.
No, I don't have a video. Video.
I gave her half of mine.
She doesn't need any more food.
You don't need any more food.
I was just eating applesauce.
No, who left? Anyways, The Street by H.P. Lovecraft. There be those who say things and places have souls, and there be those who say they have not. I dare not say myself, but I will tell of the street. Men of strength and honor fashioned that street good, valiant men of blood who come from the blessed isles across the sea. At first it was but a path trodden by bearers. Evie, leave my room.
No.
Bearers of water. At least close my door.
Bye. You say in here some apple? Yeah?
Where is it? The bearers of water, from woodland spring to the cluster of houses by the beach. Then there were more men came from glowing clusters of houses and looked for places to dwell, but cabins along the north side, cabins of stroked oaken logs with managerie on the side. Towards the forest, for many Indians lurked there. Indians as in like Native Americans, like those Indians?
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. Lurked there, fire arrows. In a few more years, men built cabins on the south side of the street. Up and down the street walked gave men in colonial hats, who most of the time carried muskets or flowing pieces, and there were also their bonneted wives and sober children. In the evening, these men with their wives and children would sit about gigantic hearths and read them and speak. Very simple were the things of they read and spoke, yet which gave them courage and goodness. They helped them by day to subdue the forest till the fiends and children would listen and learn the laws of deeds of old and that of dear England, which they had never seen or could not remember. There was war, therefore no more Indians troubled the street. The men busy with labor waxed prosperous and happy. They knew how to be, and the children grew up comfortably, and more families came by from the motherland to dwell on the street. And children's children and the newcomers' children grew up. The town was now a city. One by one the cabins gave place to houses, simple, beautiful houses of brick and wood, with stone steps and iron railings, fan lights over the doors. No flimsy creations were those houses, for they were made to serve a generation there, with caverns, mantels, and graceful stairs, and sensible, pleasuring furniture, china, and silver brought it back from the motherland. So the streets drank in the dreams of a young people, rejoiced, and as its dwellers became more graceful and happy. Where once had been strength and honor, taste and learning, now abode as well. Books and paintings and music came to the houses, and the young men went to the university, which rose above the plain to the north. In the place of colonial hats and muskets, there were three-cornered hats and small swords, and laces and snowy pierrings. And there were cobblestones over which clattered many a bloodied horses, and rumbling many a glided coach, and brick sidewalks with horse blocks and hitching posts. There were in that street many trees, elms, oaks, maples, dignity, so that in the summer the scene was soft and verdure and twirling bird song. And behind the houses were walled rose gardens, which hanged paths and sundials, where at the evening the moon, the stars would shine bewitchingly, while fragrant blossoms glistened with the dew. So the street dreamed on, past wars, calamities, changes. Once most young men went away, and some never came back. That was when they flurgered the old flag and put up the new banners of stripes and stars. Though men talked of great changes, the street felt them not, for its folk were still the same, speaking the old familiar things, in the old familiar accents, and the trees. No. No. Evie.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Okay. Yeah, if you want more, maybe.
No.
Yeah, want more.
Close my door.
Right.
What was I? Sheltered singing birds at the evening moon and stars looked up, dreary blossoms in the rose gardens. In the time there were no more swords, three-cornered hats, or pilgrims in the street. Now strange seemed the denizens in their walking sticks, tall beavers and cropped heads. New sounds came from the distance. Sucks. This is just about. Fuck this sheet. I'm not reading this one. No, it's just like the history that the U.S. like changed over the years or some dumb shit. Street F tier. Okay. A terrible old man. Oh, this one's really short. in the design of Angelo Ritchie and Joe Sitnek, the Manuel Sylvia call on the terrible old man. This old man dwells all alone in a very ancient house on Walter Street near the sea, and is reputized to be both exceedingly rich and exceedingly feeble, which forms a situation very attractive to the men of professions of Merks, Ritchie, Sinek, and Sylvia, for that profession was nothing less dignified than robbery. The inhabitants of Kingsport say that they think many things about the terrible old man, which generally keep him safe from the attention of gentlemen like Mr. Ritchie and his colleagues. Despite the fact that he almost certainly hides a fortune of indefinite magnitude somewhere about his musty and vermultuous abode. He is in truth a very strange person, believed to have been a captain of East India Clippers ships in his day, so old that no one can remember when he was young. Oh, the stream's back up if you want to link people. Dysentery. So tactilium that few knew his real name. Among the gangled trees in the front yard of his aged, neglected place, his maintains a street colleagues of large stones, oddly grouped and painted so that they resembled the idols of some obscure Eastern temple. This collectings frighten away most of the small boys who love to taunt the terrible old man about his long white hair and beard, or to break the small paned windows of his dwelling with wicked missiles. Why would kids do that? What the fuck? But there were other things which frighten the older man, which more curious folks sometimes steal up to the house to peer in through the dusty panels. These folks say on a table in the bare room on the window floor there are many particular bottles, and each a small piece of lead pendulum rise from a string, and say the terrible old man talks to these bottles, addressing them such as names as Jack, Scarface, Long Tom, Spanish Joe, Peters, Nate Owls, and whenever he speaks to a bottle, the lead pendulum makes a certain vibrations as an answer. Those who have watched the tall, lean, terrible old man in these particular conversations do not watch him again, but Angelo Ritchie and Joe Corneck and Mongula Sylvia were not in Kingsport blood. Let's listen to some. You could. No one's here left to read to. I don't think anyone's in chat. I guess bye bye.